Well, one of the things that Sir David Amess will be remembered best for is his love of animals and his unwavering commitment to raising animal welfare concerns in Parliament. He sponsored the Protection Against Cruel Tethering Act in 1988, and he campaigned on a range of issues, including ending puppy farming and stopping the illegal wildlife trade. Well, joining me now is Lorraine Platt. She is the founder of the Conservative Animal Welfare Foundation. Thank you so much for being with us this morning, Ms. Platt. Sir David was someone who shared your love of animals, your concern for animal welfare. This must have been really difficult news for you to take. What was your reaction and your feelings when you first heard?
Well, when I first heard, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was so absolutely devastating, and it was so shocking that I was absolutely struck with absolute sheer horror, as all of us are at this very difficult time. He was the kindest, most compassionate, lovely man and a great friend, and we all miss him terribly. He was always smiling, was always there to talk to you, always welcoming, supportive, just a beautiful, kind man, and a massive loss to all of us. And in Parliament, such an animal welfare champion. I was just looking at the pictures on Sky News of Sir David with his dog Vivian, and he loved all dogs, and he used to have a very, very endearing dog of the day on his Twitter account and a cat of the day when he was meeting his constituents, and he would take pictures of cats and dogs, and I think he even had a goat of the day at some point on his Twitter site. He was full of humour, always had nice things to say about everybody, just kind and a great force in animal welfare. He will be sorely missed, not only by us, but by all animal welfare charities. He was very vocal to advance animal welfare and the environment, and spoke out strongly to end live exports and end pig farrowing crates, and the end trophy hunting imports and animal testing. So many animal welfare issues, you know.
And indeed, he won. You're quite right, for his work. He won the Dodds Animal Welfare and Environment Award in 2011. That was for the parliamentarian who had done the most towards animal welfare and the environment. Of course, he was a patron of your own organisation. So a man who, as you say, has been characterised over the last few days with these images, smiling images of him with dogs particularly, but also with other animals. Moving away from his views on animals, of course, with which you worked very closely with him on, he also held firm opinions on issues that can be divisive, things like Brexit. And yet the picture we get of him is of someone for whom it didn't matter whether you agreed with him on politics. You could still be his friend. He reached out. Is that something you recognise?
Absolutely, that sums up David very well. He would reach out to everybody, even if your views didn't always, agree at the time. But he was a very tolerant man, and liked to connect with people and engage with people. And when you were talking to him, you feel that you were the only person in the room, because he just listened intently to you and gave you his full attention. He was generous with his time, and his whole nature was so generous and kind, and just a delight. He would light up the room when he came into an animal welfare event. We would all love to see him, because we knew that he was there, to give his full support. And he was incredible, and so sad. It's so terribly, terribly sad that he's no longer with us.
And someone who not only cared for animals, but also cared for people. He worked with disabilities charities, he worked with autism awareness, campaigning as well. The picture we get is of someone who cared greatly for particularly marginalised communities.
Yes, Yes, he was a good voice for people, who were needed to have that powerful voice in Parliament, and he would speak up for the vulnerable. I mean, he recently said at one of our events last week, we had a World Animal Day event at the party conference last week, and Sir David was our speaker, along with many other MPs and the Deputy PM and also the Secretary of State, George Eustace. And he said that animals have no voice and, we have to speak out for them. And he would do this for people, for everybody. He was generous with his time, and he would give his full attention when people asked him to help. He would help. He would say to me, how can I help, on when a debate was coming up on animal welfare, and this, he would offer his help, he would offer his support. He was just so generous, and it's so terribly sad that he's gone, because he was a great force in Parliament on animal welfare, the environment, and the people.
Lorraine Platt, founder of the Conservative Animal Welfare Foundation, thank you so much for sharing your memories of Sir David.
Thank you.